This is the Ielts listening test. You will hear a number of different recordings, and you will have to answer questions on what you hear. There will be time for you to read the instructions and questions, and you will have a chance to check your work. All the recordings will be played once only. The test is in 4 parts. At the end of the test, you will be given 10 minutes to transfer your answers to the answer sheet. Now turn to Part 1. Part 1.
You will hear a woman calling a local museum about children's art and craft workshops. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 5. Now we shall begin. You should answer the questions as you listen, because you will not hear the recording a second time. Listen carefully and answer questions 1 to 5.
Good morning, Sidmouth Museum. Can I help you?
Oh, yes. Good morning. I'm interested in the children's workshops, and I'd like a little more information, please.
Do you mean the art and craft workshops?
Yes, a friend of a friend mentioned them. The children do painting and make models and so forth.
Yes, of course. Where to begin? First of all, as you probably know, they run every Saturday.
Fine. And what about ages?
Well, all ages from 5 upwards are welcome, though we do ask that children below 8 years of age are accompanied by an adult.
Fine. That wouldn't be a problem. What about cost?
Well, I think you'll find them very reasonable. It's £2.50 a child, with 80p off for 2 or more children from the same family.
Oh, yes. Very reasonable. And are they held in the main museum?
Not exactly. They're nearby.
Could you give me the full address? I don't know the area very well.
Yes. It's Winter House.
Right.
And that's in Tamer Street.
Could you spell that, please?
Yes. Tamer Street.
Lovely.
And I do need to tell you that there's a security entrance, so you need to press the green button for someone to let you in. Don't press the red button, please. But don't worry, it's all clearly labelled.
Okay. And one more question. Is parking available nearby? We're driving in from out of town.
Your best bet is to leave your car at the back of the library. On a Saturday morning, there are plenty of spaces there. It's right next door to the museum.
And can I ask about booking places?
Yes, and I must tell you, you really should book by calling the education department here.
Oh, I'm sorry. Should I have rung them instead of the main museum number?
No, that's fine this time. Please don't worry. But for future reference, I'll give you the direct number. It's 200-765.
Great. I've got that.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 6 to 10. Now listen and answer questions 6 to 10.
But I'm very happy to give you information about the next 2 workshops. On Saturday the 16th, there's building castles.
Oh, sounds great.
This involves quite a bit of glue, so just make sure the kids are in old clothes.
I know. Ones I don't mind getting mucky.
Exactly. And if possible, Could you bring along bottle tops, which the children might be able to use in the models, as decoration?
We'll certainly try to find some for you.
Then the following week...
That'll be the 23rd, won't it?
Yes, that's right. On that day, it's what we call undersea worlds. This is where they make scenes with fishes, underground caverns, and so on.
Is that likely to get very dirty? Lots of paint splashes?
Not really, so we don't recommend any special clothes for that one. But if you could search out some silver paper to bring along to use in the sessions, it's shiny, it looks like water, that'd be great.
Yes, of course. We'll see what we can come up with. Well, thank you ever so much for all your help. The sessions sound really good, and I'll certainly book up for the next 2.
Lovely. Thanks very much for ringing.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
That is the end of Part 1. You now have 1 minute to check your answers to Part 1. Part 2.
You will hear a customer services official giving information to a passenger at a railway station in a town called Trebirch. First, you have some time to look at questions 11 to 17. Now listen carefully and answer questions 11 to 17.
Hello. My family and I are staying here in Trebirch for a week or 2, and we wanted to know about the train services. We're hoping to do a few local trips.
Okay. Well, I can give you lots of details about all the trains going from Trebirch in the southwest. This leaflet will be very helpful, but I can tell you some of the main things. We've got 2 main train stations in the town. King Street is for local commuter lines and regional services.
What about trains to London? I'll need to go there on business for one day.
Then you need to go to Central Station. That's for all the national services. There are regular trains to London. They leave Trebirch every half hour on weekdays and every hour at weekends. It takes about 2 hours, a bit longer on Sundays. You've got a choice of first and second class, and there's a buffet car, though refreshments are included in the cost of a first-class ticket.
Ah, right. And have you got any information on different ticket types?
Yes, there's a range of ticket prices depending on when you travel and when you buy your ticket. There's a standard open ticket, which doesn't have any restrictions. This can be bought in advance or on the day. You can also get various discounted tickets. A popular one is called the Super Save, and this is okay for travel after 8:45. Then there is the special ticket, which is valid for travel after 10:15. The special tickets are also valid for travel at weekends. The cheapest tickets are called advance, and you have to buy them at least 6 days ahead. Only a certain number are available, and you have to make seat reservations for these.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 18 to 20. Now listen and answer questions 18 to 20.
Thanks. And are there lots of places to go to around here?
Oh, yes. You can enjoy many days out. There's the Merthyr Mining Museum, which is only half an hour from Treberch by train. Your children will find it just as fascinating as any theme park, and they can ride in the original miners' lifts and on the coal trains. There are special excursion tickets which include entrance fees. Mainline trains also offer direct services to Bristol, where you can visit the docks or spend a great day out with the children in the zoo, which is set in the parkland that used to surround the old castle. Special family away day fares are available for this service now during the school holidays. Alternatively, you can be in Birmingham in only an hour and a half, where there's lots to see and do, including the new and internationally acclaimed climbing wall built on the site of the old aquarium. We will also be running a special service to Newport when the new Science Museum opens next year, as we anticipate a lot of visitors in the opening weeks. I'd advise you to call early to book your tickets. Is that okay?
Yes, thanks.
That is the end of Part 2. You now have 30 seconds to check your answers to Part 2. Part 3.
You are going to hear a conversation between Jack and Mary, who are 2 college students. They are talking about the courses they should take. First, listen to the first part of the conversation and answer questions 21 to 26. You now have some time to read questions 21 to 26.
Hi, Mary. Got time for a coffee? I'd love to discuss what courses I should take. I'm so confused.
So am I. But maybe we can work something out together, Jack. We should really talk about this with our academic supervisor. But she's away until Thursday, which might make it a bit late to register for some of the more popular courses.
That's my worry. It's lucky we're doing the same major, so some of the courses will be the same and we can cycle in together. What did your parents say when you told them you would be an English major?
Well, Dad thinks I'm crazy. You'll never find a decent job when you graduate. Teacher or secretary, that's about all you'll be good for. But he's an engineer, so what would he know?
What about your mum?
Oh, she loves reading and has dreams of me becoming a great writer or something, so she's all for it. What about your parents?
Actually, they agree. They're both teachers and are always moaning about the terrible English of most of their students. They blame it on computers, computer games. To be exact, very few of their students ever read novels.
Anyway, let's have a look at some of these courses. I thought of taking Latin. People say it'll train my brain and help with French and Spanish as well as English.
I think that's nonsense. It's a dead language. If you want to learn Spanish or Italian or something, then learn it directly. I did Latin at high school, and apart from helping me guess the meaning of some new words with a Latin root, it was a waste of time. Leave Latin to archaeologists and theologians.
Guess you're right. Okay, no Latin. Actually, I'm playing with the idea of doing journalism later. Foreign languages are always useful for a journalist. Maybe I'll take oral French.
As the conversation continues, please answer questions 27 to 30. You now have some time to read questions 27 to 30.
That's exactly what I was thinking. What are the lecture times?
Let me see. French 100, 9 to 12 Monday mornings in Language Lab number 2, and 2 till 5 Thursday afternoons in Lecture Hall A5. I think they're both in the Arts Faculty building.
They are. I checked the language lab out yesterday. Very modern and not too big. Room for about 30, so the teacher will have more time for individuals. Not like that 50-seat place in my old school. Okay, French 100 it is. What next? I was thinking about Creative Writing 201. What do you think?
That's one of our set courses, stupid. We have to take it along with History of English, Early American Literature, and Sociology 100.
Damn, I forgot. So including French, we'll be doing 5 courses this term. How many classroom hours is that altogether?
Let's see. History of English, 3 hours every Tuesday morning. American Lit, 2 till 5 Tuesday afternoons. Creative Writing, 9 till 12 Wednesday mornings. Sociology, 2 till 5 Friday afternoons. That makes 18, including 3 hours in the language lab.
Sounds enough to me, especially in our first term. And the times won't interfere with my swimming team training. All work, no play makes Jack a dull boy.
You certainly need that creative writing course. Let's drink our coffee.
That is the end of part 3. You now have 30 seconds to check your answers to part 3. Part 4.
You are going to hear a lecture about environment and development by Professor John Robertson. You now have some time to read questions 31 to 40.
Good morning, everybody. It's good to see you all looking so refreshed after spending the weekend testing the beer in the students' bar. I wonder if any of you discovered the library, but I guess it's far too early for that. It's even better to see we have a full house. I hope you are all here for Environment and Development 101, because if you are not, then you are in the wrong lecture hall. By the way, my name is John Robertson, and I'll be the main lecturer for this course. But we will have some guest lecturers from time to time. And nobody has left. Great. I guess that means you all intend to take this course. Okay. As it says on the notice outside, today I'm going to describe the main contents and purposes of the course and hopefully add to the enthusiasm that brought you here today. Does anybody know who Howard Odum was? Right? He is known as the father of ecology. He once said, "Everything is connected to everything else." And that statement explains the design of this course. As human knowledge expands, most courses, even first-year courses, get more and more specialized. You learn more and more about less and less. This course is quite different. In the 72 hours of this course, don't forget you get 2 credits for it instead of the usual 1. We will try to achieve 3 main objectives, namely, we will try to get an understanding of what is happening to planet Earth, why it is happening, and hopefully to find some answers to the many problems that we'll be talking about. The first few lectures will be an overview of the more serious current trends that are of such great concern to, not just greenies, meaning environmentalists like myself, and organizations like Greenpeace and Friends of the Earth, but also to more and more ordinary people and even a few politicians and corporate leaders. So we'll be looking at things like global warming, the loss of, in particular, tropical forests, persistent organic chemicals, known as gender benders, because they can seriously affect the sexual development of animals, desertification, the serious worldwide problem of overfishing, and the accelerating loss of biodiversity. If humans carry on as they are, some 50% of the world's plant and animal species will be probably extinct by the middle of this century. That's the environment bit. What about development? We'll be thinking a lot about this issue. If the goal of development is to improve the quality of life, which presumably means making people happier, then we have to think about this thing called happiness. In modern times, we have become consumers in the great consumer society. Are we any happier than the Bushmen of the Kalahari Desert in southern Africa? And if common sense tells us that rising sea levels, gender benders, and all the other aspects of a worsening environment will sooner or later put a big brake on consumption. Why? Given the warnings from the great majority of the world's scientists, are things in general continuing to get worse? This brings us on to psychology, sociology, and of course politics, economics, and even philosophy. We won't have time to go into each of these areas in great depth. For our immediate purposes, this is not necessary, because the basic goal is to help us develop a model, a dynamic model, that integrates the main forces leading to environmental degradation and those opposing forces that promote environmental stewardship. This is a tall order for us to do as individuals, so we'll be dividing into teams, and each team will focus on 1 or 2 particular aspects, at the same time integrating the main findings and arguments of the other teams into their work. Well, we have a lot of great work to do, which means it's coffee time. Back in 15 minutes.
That is the end of Part 4. You now have 1 minute to check your answers to Part 4.